Hello and welcome to another DGCAD Consulting training video on Revit Building 8, what we're calling our A to Z, and part 1 of it. Presumably you've been through the introduction video, which covers all the information here, and then next we'll talk about the basic floor plans, walls, doors, windows, and placement of those and alignment of those objects. So the main thing to remember is that our doors and windows are being hosted by the walls, and then the walls are being placed and aligned and constrained to different datum points. When you draw a wall, you say where the base level of the wall and the top level are, and usually they're related to the actual levels in the drawing, and you can offset them from that. In plan, you can align your walls with reference planes and grid lines. And then you can just use your align command to align them with each other, and you can use dimensions to lock those objects. So it's all about placing your walls and constraining those walls to other objects, generally your grid and your reference planes. And then as you move and stretch and flex your model around, all of the corresponding objects will update for you. And as you're drawing, you will get several different drawing aids and some alignment tools, temporary tracking points and temporary dimensions, some different snap settings that we'll see. Okay, and then as we're drawing and sketching, we'll notice that the tools are dynamically changing. So as we're drawing in Revit, we'll notice that the menu and the tools up here are constantly changing, reflecting the command we're in. And we'll finish off with just some wall and wall properties specifically, and then we'll talk about doors, windows, and the specifics of those particular objects. So if I go over into my Revit, and I'm just going to hit open, and I'm going to go back into my training files, into metric, and I'm going to open one called viewing exercise. I'm just going to hit open on that drawing. It's going to open up that project, and of course it's only showing me the floor plans. If I go in here, you'll see that the one that's bold is the one that I'm viewing, and it usually goes into the last view that you had in this drawing, and then that's the only view open. And as you open other views, of course, they'll show up in here as windows. So when we're talking about walls and visibility, is we can go inside of here now, and right now I think what is called thin lines is turned on. If I take thin lines off, what happens is that it'll be printed as in what you see is what you get. So that will be the actual line weights, and the specifics of line weights are under settings. Under line weights, think of it as having 16 different pen numbers, and then each scale, okay, that you set down in here, this pen number will be this wide. So that's and you can add one in and you can change these. So these are our line weights, and the objects will be specifying a pen number, and then at whatever scale you set at will be the line weight. So I can go back if I want again and hit thin lines, and that just ignores it. No matter how far I zoom in or zoom out, it's always going to be the same kind of line weight. So in fact, I'm going to take that thin lines off. You'll also notice that there's some short commands in here, right, that we've seen in the past. You can type these 2 characters in and you'll get that command without hitting an enter. Take my thin lines off. Just before we draw some walls in here, we've got also some settings down inside of here. And if we look at, there's our scale, of course, and our tags will update and our annotations will update according to whatever scale we're at, and our dimensions as well. And then we've got this inside of here, which is coarse detail, fine detail, and medium detail. If I go to fine detail, I will see more detail in the objects. Now in this case, these walls only have one component. It's a basic generic wall. But if I go in here and make this be a different wall style, of course, you're going to see, and I click out, and there's going to be an update in there. So that wall has changed. Now I can, if I want to grab multiple walls, I can go in here, and if I hover over this wall and I hit my tab key, the tab key will chain all the way around the whole building, and then I can click on that, and then I can go back in here and say, okay, all of the exterior walls are of this type. And it's found some constraints of the sketching, so we're getting our little messages in here, and it's showing us we've got a problem somewhere, and the highlighted elements cannot be satisfied. So somewhere in there, I think it's right over here, because you can see right inside of here it's giving us it's giving us a problem. You see the red line? So then we can say delete elements, and that'll just kind of delete that one element that was giving it a problem. And then I can go in here now if I want, and I can go in and use my trim command and bring those two together. Okay, and there's going to be, we'll talk a little bit about wall joins a little bit later and how to make that all clean up. But as we're placing our walls, we should probably have some grid lines and everything on here, and we don't. So I'm going to go back up here a little bit, and I'm going to go in and draw some grid lines on here. So I could grab a grid line there, maybe place another one inside of here, wheeling in and wheeling out. Okay, notice that you're getting all those good tracking points as I'm dragging that in there. Okay, now what happens is if this wall, for instance, was aligned, I'm going to click on my align tool, and I'm going to use this align and then grab this wall, and I'm going to lock it. Okay, hit escape, because I could do more than that. And now what happens if I click on this grid, okay, and I move it a certain distance, of course that wall is going to move with it, and then eventually I'm going to run into a problem because this wall is going to go into there. So I can again click on there, you can see that grid, and then you can go ahead and you can move it. If I had a dimension, okay, these dimensions are not dimensioning to my grid, I'm just going to delete those. If I actually have dimensions that are going from grid, and I'm just clicking regular click, and then, oh, I didn't get that. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to delete that. Try that again. Back to my dimension command from here to here. Click, and then click nowhere to place it. Hit escape, and then if I do that, then I can go in and I can lock these as well. But now I can control that dimension by clicking on the. Now that I've dimensioned the grid itself, when I click the grid, it's going to say, oh, okay, and I can change this number to be whatever I want, and then this is going to move over, and I think, yeah, there obviously I put in a number that was too big, so I can just hit cancel on that. Didn't want to do it. So if you place the walls on the grids, you usually align them, and then you take your dimensions and you dimension to the grid lines, and then you can click on this anytime you want once, and then you click on. See, now I can't change that number right now, and the problem is I have to click this first, and then I can go change the number. Okay, but I have to actually select this, then go pick the number before I can change it. Same thing as with the wall. If this wall is in here, I can pick on this wall, and I can pick this number and change, and it'll move the wall. If you click on an object, it also shows you this little icon here, which means make it a permanent dimension, which means if I click on something and I hit this, it actually makes that a dimension, and then I click out once and it's done. Now I can go in here and I can change this number. Okay. Now I can't change it right now because the wall isn't selected. First you select the wall, then you click the number, then you make your change, and it'll move. Okay. Once again, I can say okay. I can click on this object here. Now I want to set a dimension from here to here. Well, I don't see that dimension. Where is it? It's giving me this thing over here, which I don't really want, and that's not what I want. So then what you can do is you can take this temporary dimension. Let's pick one that's a little closer here. And if you don't like where the dimension line is located, watch. Okay, I'm going to select this wall. It's going to give me those temporary dimensions. Well, I can take this and I can move this to there, and then I can change the number. Okay, again, clicking out, click on here. Maybe I want to know the distance from, maybe I wanted the door, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to say, no, I want to know the distance from this door to this door, and then I take this number and then I change it to be 1500, and then it'll move itself by 100. Okay, you can also nudge objects. If you click an object and use your arrow key, okay, I'm just using my arrow keys, so you can use your arrow keys to nudge things. Again, click on here, nudge, nudge. Okay, so as you're selecting objects at any point, I can click on here and I can say, okay, well, I want to know the distance from here to here or here, and then you can hit your tab button and it'll actually toggle through the surfaces in the area, and then I can go and change that number to be whatever I want, and then after I'm done I can lock it. Okay, so then you can lock those dimensions. So we can also use our align tool again. Say align something. I want to align, let's pull this guy back. No, that's not going to be a good example. although it might be interesting. We can pull this back to here, and then of course I can say align. This is my master, this is what I want to align to it, and lock it, and then that's it. If I move this object now, this is going to move with it. If I want to unlock it, I can click on here, and it's going to show me the constraints of it, and I can unlock it. Now I'm free to do whatever I want. Otherwise, it would give me a warning when I do that. Okay, you can align things in plan. You can also align things in elevation. I'm just going to go to my south elevation down in the bottom. Okay, let's just take this window, for instance. I'm going to delete this tag because I can retag it later, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it and copy up to there. Okay, and I can make multiple copies. Now I can take this and I'm just going to use my nudging command to move that over a little bit. And now what I can do is to show the align command, I can also align vertically this way. So I can say align with whatever surface I want to this, and then lock it. Same old story, you're starting to see it again. Now, I can also do multiple aligning. Let's just say I grab this wall as well. Okay, and I'm going to pull this wall up so I have a little more wall on there. We could see the effect that would have if I actually went to my 3D, because there's that wall. Go back to my south elevation. And then I can, let's say I had more windows here, and I can take this, I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to move it over to here. And then I'm going to copy it, okay, from here to there, doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm going to use my align command, and I can pick whatever edge I want, okay, horizontally or vertically. Click here, and I'm going to say multiple. Okay, if this isn't checked, you can't do more than one. I can say with that edge on that side, and let me do this again. Align, and I want to pick, this is my master surface, then I want to align that, and I lock it, and then I'll align that edge, and I'll lock that one, and then I'll align that edge. You see I clicked out, so it actually stopped my command. So I had to go back and do that again and align it. Okay, so aligning this way. You can also align in section. If I go back to my floor plan, there's that high wall right there. I'm going to go in, I'm going to draw a quick section through here. And in fact, I hit my F1 button. I'm going to take this and move it so it's going through a window, make it a little more exciting. And then I'm going to click on here, and it's going to show that. Well, I've got, that's actually all one big wall. Okay, that's not quite what I wanted to do. So I need to say, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to delete the instances because I brought it down. It said, okay, you've got some windows there that no longer fit. So I said, go ahead. So I'm going to delete those. And now I'm going to say edit. And I'm going to say copy to clipboard. And then I'm going to say edit, and I'm going to say paste aligned, and I'm going to select a different level. I'm going to pick the parapet level and watch what happens. I've basically now copied that wall up to there. If we go back to our 3D view, we can see I've copied that up into there. So now I'm going to take this wall, and I'm going to go up to my parapet level, and there's that wall that I just did, and I'm actually going to take that and I'm going to nudge it so it's not vertically aligned. And now I'm going to go back to my cross section. This is where we can go in here now, and I might even want to say thin line so I can get a good close look at what I'm doing here. And now I can go align, and I can pick this edge with this and then lock it, and then you're done. Okay, so if this was a compound wall, it would be even more interesting. Let's change my detail to be fine here, so I'm going to see more detail of this wall. Maybe I'm going to take that wall and I'm going to make it just be a CMU wall. Okay, click on there. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to take that lock off. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do my align one more time, and I'm going to say, well, align this. Now I can't seem to get that right edge, so I'm going to hit my tab button. You see how I can toggle align from there, and I want this aligned with it, and I'm going to lock it, and there you can go again. You can start to see some of this power, because now if I move this wall will move with it, and then all adjoining walls that are butting up against this will all get stretched as well. So there's our align tool again. So we've got our align tool in section, we've got our align tool in plan, we've got our align tool in elevation. Okay, really nice. Going back to here, we can go in and add reference planes. Okay, we've got grid lines which we can tie things into. We've got levels that we saw we could tie things into here, top and bottom. And remember, when we go and we draw some walls, if I go in here and say, okay, draw a wall, and as I'm drawing the wall, I can say the bottom constraint, base constraint, is level 1 because I'm on level 1. The offset from level 1 is 0, meaning I'm drawing starting right at level 1. If you wanted to go above or below, you change this number. And then the top of the wall is unconnected, meaning I've just put in a number of 7 meters, or I can go in here and say no, and you can actually pick a level. These levels are these levels that are over here. So you can tell the top of the wall to go to a level, or you can tell it to go to a level but have an offset of 250 or minus 250. Negative numbers allowed in here. So top and bottom of wall and where it is relative to, and that way if you top constrain it to be the parapet level and then I go to the elevation and move my parapet level, the top of the wall will retain its offset or retain its distance. So the main thing there with our walls is the top and bottom constraint as I place the wall, and as you near a point, again, you can tab your way through. Okay, if you want to select a bunch of walls in a chain, you can hit tab. Oh, that one didn't work. You pick an outside one, hit tab, and it'll chain pick them all. Okay, if I wanted again, I could now say what I want to do is go up to, say, my parapet level, and I want to delete this wall. And it's gone. Now I'm going to go to my level 1, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go here, I'm pause, tab, click. Oh, pause, tab, click, grab them all, and I'm going to say edit, and I'm going to say copy to clipboard, and then I'm going to say edit, paste, aligned, and I'm going to pick my level. I'm going to say put it on level parapet, hit OK. Second story building on there, and now when I go to my south elevation, I have that, and if I go to my 3D view, I can see I've copied that whole floor up, and then I could do also the interior partitions the same way. Not a problem with that. Okay, and then I would just go in and add a roof, maybe add a roof by footprint. We'll see that when we get to roofs, and then you just tab your way around here, pick on that particular object, and then we would want to set the options and move that up. You can see we're in sketch mode, so I'm not going to finish that roof. Oh, sorry about that. And go from there in our roof section, but now of course our elevations will all be there, and then they're all tied into here. So let's have a quick look at our document here. Creating floor plans, drawing and alignment aids, temporary tracking points, and snaps. The other thing we can do back inside of here is that as we're laying out our walls, we'll see that we've got different options inside of here. Like I can say, well, I want a straight line or not. I can go in and draw a wall, and I can draw an arced wall. So I can click on here and I can draw one segment, and then the next segment can be an arc where I pick the diameter and then I stretch that out like that, and then I can go back to drawing straight again from here to here and click that in. Once I have that, I can click on these walls, press and drag, and then which is what is turned on here, and then I can go in and I can change that to a different wall style. You can also go in and put a door. We'll talk a little bit about doors. Go to a single door, add a door inside of there, no problem placing the door in the arch, and we can take that and we can move that around. Not a problem in rounded walls. Okay, and then we can place windows. We can go in and grab a window. As we play, notice we're always checking in here in our different family types that we can select. So as we go in, we can go and hit load here. If I don't see the window I want, I can hit load. And then inside of load, I can go down and I can go to the windows and say, okay, I want to load whatever type of window inside of here. And we can also hit web library, and it'll go to the internet into Autodesk, and you can go to some other Revit websites that will have lots of families available, and you can go download those. When I hit open, it brings in that particular window family. Notice it's an RFA, and then after you bring that Revit family in, then it comes in with all of its sizes that were with it as well, not just that one window, but that window has also always got lots of sizes. So now it's actually on my cursor right now, and if I click on here, you can see it had 3 different sizes. You can pick on your size and you can place that window. Okay, as you're placing a door or a window, depending on what side of the surface you have, will depend on where it goes, and then you can hit your space bar, which will toggle you between the swings, and this way so side to side, and then pick your swing. After it's in, you can click on it and you can hit your flip buttons in here and here and flip those around. Again, you can go grab this, make that dimension permanent, and then click and change a number and click out, and it'll put those in. Again, our scale factor here, let's change this back to be 1 to 50, and of course our annotations will all get smaller and all update, which is quite nice. Okay, so placing of walls. As we place our walls, we've got different wall segments. We have our chain. If chain is turned off when you draw a wall, what happens is it looks like it's, and it'll kind of skip one, and chain meaning that you want end-to-end walls all the way through at whatever you want. As you're typing in, you can type in a number right now, 1500, and it'll go 1500 in that direction. Formula, oh, it needs an angle here. Oh, those are O's, not zeros. Sorry about that. The old O0. And so there. So as you're placing a wall, you can go in and you can pick your wall style off of here, whatever wall style you want. And then as you're placing it and clicking, you can go in and you can type in a number anytime you want. You can also make a wall by surfaces, we'll see with solids, and we can also go by picking on line work. Okay, so if we draw a wall and we can pick on here, and then we can actually pick on that point, and it's actually going to put a wall right in within the wall, but that's okay. And now I'm going to take this and maybe move that over there, something like that. Okay, we've got, oh, that's not what I wanted. We've also got a wall in here. If we look, we can go in and we can say we have curtain walls as well. We can draw a curtain wall. We can click on here. Okay, curtain walls show up a little better in 3D. And this isn't a very exciting curtain wall style. We'd have to go load some other wall styles and wall families into the drawing. Let's go back to our main floor plan here. So placement, and I'm just going to do my press and drag here and clean this up a little bit. So as you're going in, you've got your walls, check your properties, make sure you're on your levels, align, use your grids and your snaps and that, and we'll be continuing to talk more about walls a little bit later. And windows, similar, we can go in, we can change our window properties inside of here. Depending on the different window, you can pick edit, and what you'd want to do is you don't really want to change this particular window. What you're going to want to do is say duplicate, and it'll make a copy of that particular type of window. We give a different name, and you'd probably change the width or something inside of here, and then from inside of here you can go in and change the height, and you can change the width of the window. But it's not really recommended to change the original, because unless you want all the originals to change, because it will propagate throughout the drawing. So the key in there is that we want to duplicate for doors and windows, or we can actually reload. Similarly, we can go and say door, and we can pick whatever type of door we want, or we can go load doors from our door library, or we can create a family in place. As you pick a door, you can go in here and say, well, I want one just like that. You click on here, and then you go into edit mode, and then from there you say duplicate, and then you give a new name, you hit OK, and then you change this one. From inside of there, we can go in and do all kinds of changes to these properties and not affect the other doors in the drawing. And one other note about your doors and windows is when you go into window, the actual sill heights and sizes again are right back in there. Notice you can't change your sill height in here specific to this particular. This is the family, and this is the type within that family, okay? And then inside of here we'd go edit, and just as a note, this is where you have your sill heights and your actual heights and dimensions right inside of those properties after you've done your copy, or in fact maybe you want to change the original. And last, a couple of closing commands here. We've talked a fair bit about the align command. If we want to do temporary, if we want to measure something while we're drawing, and we want to know what the distance is, we can also go inside of here and we can pick on here and then say pick over to there. And then it's going to, first of all, it'll tell us, if you can't, sometimes you can't read that, and it'll tell us the dimension inside of here. And it's one of those looping commands where you can go in and do a bunch of them. What I call persistent commands, so we can go from here to there, and then it'll show us these temporary dimensions, and it'll also reflect that dimension up in there, which isn't going to change, purely for information. If you turn chain on, then you can anticipate that you can do several dimensions and line those up as you please that way, and then it'll always show the last one, and then you hit escape. So just for information, we've got our temporary dimensions. Split command, basically it just splits it. If you put a point in there, what it'll do is it'll split that wall, and you can do it in elevation or plan, and then now you have a different wall. You can move that over. Oh, dimension reference constraints, I'm going to remove that. Okay, so our split, our trim is kind of like trim and fillet and extend are all very much the same. I can go in and hit trim, and then you'll notice these again. Watch these change depending on what it is you pick. Okay, so always look down here. They're sneaky. You forget they're there. So trim, and I'm going to say this type of trim, and I can go here, and it'll do that. Okay, I'm just going to do an undo. Okay, maybe I want to do a multiple, so I'm going to actually take this. Notice that it sticks me in this command until you hit escape. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to say copy multiple is on, so I know I can make more than one copy. Okay, then I'm going to click on these using my control button. Oh, I would probably have to align them, and then I can pull those down one by one. I can change that number. So trim can also be extend is what I'm showing you here, and let's just pull this up to here. Okay, so I can go to this trim here, and I can go in and I can use this type of trim. I'm going to pick this as my object and surface, and that's going to go to there, that's going to go to there, and then this one's actually going to do that on that side. If I would have picked the other side, it would have went the other way. So that is kind of like trim and extend all in one. And then there's this type of trim. We can go in here and we can pick on there, and it will trim the first one about the second one, and I'm not worried about deleting those ones. Okay, so there's that type of trim, and then there's the offset command, which basically you can say okay, offset, and if you click on this, it'll actually offset whatever it is, that wall, by that distance by typing in a distance over here, and depending on the surface edge you pick will depend on where it goes. So we can use our offset command, and again it looks like it's found a problem up over here and or down over here. So we're noticing that we're getting all those little warning signals. So we've got our offset, we've got our trim, which is giving us our different options. Always look down in here. Split basically just splits it, and delete inner segment. Okay, that's where if you want to make a hole. So there's 2 points where we can split that right inside of there. So that's that type of split. And then we've got our beautiful align command, and you can pick wall faces and how you want things to align that way.